Have you ever thought you were being watched by something impossible to see? Maybe you've been the one watching and witnessing things you shouldn't be. You may even be actively avoiding the paranormal and spooky, yet it still finds you. Join me as I regale my guests with unimaginable horrors of unknowable evil. You're right on time for the Goblin Hour.
Hey man, welcome to Goblin Hour.
Oh, well, thank you for having me, Ben.
It's Chase again. So
yeah, it's Chase week 2, maybe.
Maybe week 2, maybe it's the same episode. Maybe this part got cut. Maybe I left it in. Who knows?
We'll see.
They just bumped the glass. That was crazy. But yeah, last episode, last 30 minutes ago, I don't know. I mentioned the effing Mongolian death worm. Which is
sounds crazy. It looks even crazier.
Big, goofy monster, very much in line with what Goblin Hour normally is. Not like a real. It's a scary.
Sorry, I brought the scary. I think I may have overdone it on the scary.
No, it was good. It was a good. Now people have options.
Exactly.
Now we'll be able to see what the audience responds to.
Okay.
But yeah, the Mongolian death worm. I find something funny about the Mongolian death worm. When I looked it up, one of the pages was from the History Channel, and it was like the worst report ever. The worst formatted website. I was like, this is all. I cannot use this.
Come on, History Channel.
So
you got to be
Funny.
credible. You got to be credible here.
Yeah, but yeah, the Mongolian death worm. I'll just start by reading the Wikipedia excerpt here.
Okay.
The Mongolian death worm, and then in Mongolian it's pronounced the Olgoi Korkoi. So I don't know if that's pronounced right, but Olgoi Korkoi. It's a large intestine worm, as what that means,
okay.
And it's a creature alleged to exist in the Gobi Desert. The creature first came to Western attention as a result of Roy Chapman Andrews' 1926 book On the Trail of Ancient Man. The American paleontologist described secondhand tales of the monster that excuse me, I had to burp there. Oh. The American paleontologist described secondhand tales of the monster that he heard at the gathering of Mongolian officials. None of those present ever had seen the creature, but they all firmly believed in its existence and described it minutely. In 1983, a specimen of Tartar sand boa was shown to locals who claimed to have seen Olgoi Korkoi, and they confirmed that this was the same animal.
Okay, so big worm.
Yeah, according to this, I mean, looks like they thought it was a snake. At least some of them. Looks like it was confirmed to be a snake, according to this.
You said it lives in the intestines, but it lives in the desert, but it's an intestine worm? Or it's an intestine snake? It's
an intestine worm is what the name means. They said it was a snake in 1983.
Okay.
So it looks like they saw... okay, this is what it's saying. These are people that claim to have seen it, but it turns out they saw a snake, so they didn't see the worm.
Okay.
They saw a snake, and they misidentified it as that.
Dang.
But it's a big worm that looks like an intestines.
Interesting.
How do you feel about that?
A little unnerved. You know, I probably wouldn't want to bump into one.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
But yeah, I think that's all I really need from the Wikipedia article, because it goes on to be too scientific, and that's...
We don't deal with science here.
We
don't deal with science here.
We're talking about big worms. You want to hear 15 disturbing facts about the Mongolian death worm?
I would love to.
Courtesy of Thought Catalog.
Lay 'em on me.
Okay. Fact number 1. The Mongolian death worm is even more dangerous than the name suggests.
Okay.
Good fact.
Well, can you expand on this?
That's that whole fact.
Okay.
Next fact is the Mongolian death worm has the ability to kill up close and from a distance.
From a distance.
You never want to come across this creature because the chances are slim you are going to make it out alive.
How does he attack from a distance?
I don't know. Once again, it just says that and is like...
They're leaving us with these cliffhangers.
That's all you need. Mongolian, yeah, maybe it has a ranged weapon. I don't know.
That's awesome.
The native name of the Mongolian death worm is Olgoi Korkoi, which translates to intestine worm. This is because the worm is blood red color and okay. Proximate, yeah, okay, gotcha.
Nice.
And then the Mongolian death worm is a warm-blooded creature in the shape of a sausage without any noticeable eyes, nose, or a mouth. It reaches somewhere between 2 or 5 feet long.
2 to 5 feet?
What is it? It's like the worst cryptid ever. 2 to 5 feet? That is not scary.
2 to 5 feet.
I destroy that. I kill that 10 times out of 10.
I don't know, though, because it said you were going to die if you came across it. It's a lot more deadly than the name suggests. And it's called the death worm.
If I encounter a 2-foot worm snake, I'm picking it up and I'm swinging it over my head and smashing it on a rock.
I wish I had the confidence. I don't know if I could do that.
I destroy that thing in a second.
But
There's
like,
no world where I lose.
Okay, 2 to 5 feet long, but like imagine how thick it is. Like the circumference of that
If
one.
it's really thick, that's something.
It could be like a tree log. Like
if it's a tree log, I lose.
That's what.
Because that's crazy. That's probably like 2 feet. If this is like a foot from here, maybe that's 2 feet?
Yeah. Imagine. Okay, hold on. Imagine like that big around at 2 feet. Maybe bigger. I don't know.
That's crazy. Like
It depends on what his projectile weapon is.
Yeah, it's like on the picture they keep providing is like a big log-looking guy, big cylinder with no face but a huge, crazy sarlacc pit mouth. And if that's the case, and it's like 2 feet by 2 feet, or even a foot by 2 feet, if it's like a
you
foot
could fit
wide,
a whole torso in there if he's stretchy.
I lose so hard if that's the case.
Let's hear the next one.
Okay.
Let's hear the next one. I'm concerned about this guy now.
Oh, the Mongolian deathworm can kill from a distance by spewing corrosive yellow saliva and generating an electric discharge. However, the simple act of touching the worm can also lead to instant death. This thing is a Pokemon.
Way. No way.
That was a Pokédex entry.
He's got electricity.
He's got
flowing
electric
through
powers,
him,
acid powers,
and he's got a big mouth.
and he also has the instant death thing.
If you touch him,
Yeah, that's literally like a Pokemon Pokédex entry. It's like the Mongolian deathworm.
that is crazy. So like this, he's just a walking death trap, pretty much.
Yeah.
Anything that gets in his way is dead.
If this thing is real, I lose 100 times out of 100 at this point. That's crazy.
I'm not going into the desert looking for any death worms.
I was gonna go to the Mongolian desert this summer. No way.
Not
no.
this year. Not until they're extinct.
That's wild.
That is insane.
Okay, well, the Mongolian deathworm travels underground and can be spotted by the waves of sand that appear on the surface of the desert when it passes. Okay. The Mongolian deathworm hibernates for 10 months of the year. It only emerges during June and July, and even then it prefers to rise to the surface when the ground is wet and rain is falling from the skies. Oh,
That's interesting. That's interesting. At least you got 10 months out of the year to be in the Mongolian desert and not have to worry about this deathworm.
Yeah, so I can definitely plan my summer out so I can still pull up.
I was going to say, maybe late July, August.
July. Probably, I would do it before, I think.
Okay.
No, maybe not, because if it's hibernating, it's probably eating and getting lazy anyway. If it's about to go to bed, or if it's about to wake up, or maybe like, no, I don't know, whatever. I'll figure it out. I'll do some research off podcast, and we'll just see how it goes.
Heck yeah. In the field reporting.
Here's one. This is the thing I saw earlier when I was like, it eats camels. Aside from humans, the Mongolian deathworm preys on camels. It will leave eggs inside of the animal's intestines, which will eventually turn the camel the same shade of red as the creature.
No way.
Is this real? Is this a real animal? Because like these are all kind of plausible. Like the fact that it is small makes me think it could be real.
That's what I'm saying. And like it's in the desert too. Who's out there to like document these things?
Because this is like not a cryptid kind of. This is like a biology report.
Interesting. I thought, interesting. Unexpected turn.
Okay, that's crazy. All right. Some people believe before the Mongolian deathworm attacks, it will raise half of its body from the sand and inflate until it explodes, which is when lethal poison is sprayed across the victim. This thing has to not be real. That's so crazy.
It like kills itself.
I don't know.
To kill others?
Maybe it regenerates.
Because only half of it explodes.
Yeah.
So like, this guy's got his powers thought out.
This guy has so many powers.
He's OP. Like,
I think Skinwalker still clears it.
I don't know, because like, actually, does
this guy does not have ash?
That is true.
And I think it has normal weaknesses.
But like, would acid affect a Skinwalker? If they were to fight, if you were to get the death worm and a Skinwalker in the same room, who's walking out victorious?
I think Skinwalker. That scared me so much. And knowing I can't fight it, like this thing, I at least have a shot, I think, because like it's not immune to my attacks. Like I think I could punch this thing or like hit it a few times and it would like maybe leave.
I agree.
But a Skinwalker is like an actual thing that's evil by its nature. Like it's bad at least.
I agree. It's got that bad energy attached to it. I think that would be a very intense battle.
It would be crazy to watch. Somebody needs to make like some sort of fighting game or something where it's like cryptids like that.
That'd be really fun, yeah.
That'd be crazy. But anyway, this is why I love the internet and doing the research on this stuff, because some of these websites are just truly awful with like what they do. Here's the latest fact.
I'm ready.
The Mongolian deathworm lives in the most sandy, desolate parts of the desert.
In the desert. The most sandy parts of the desert.
Yep, specifically the Gobi Desert. Truly worthless fact. Should not have printed it.
Thank you. Thank you for causing us to use that printer ink.
But yeah. And then for some reason, there's like somebody's Instagram linked. I guess I'll read what it says.
Okay.
The Mongolian deathworm is a cryptid that supposedly inhabits the Gobi Desert. They range from 2 to 6 feet. Okay, so it just added to 6 feet. And its body is so poisonous that it can kill a human through mere touch. Usually, deathworms travel underground, but upon surfacing, they can shoot lethal venom from their mouths. Those who have encountered the creature say that it's capable of killing prey through an electric discharge.
There it is again with the electric charge.
That's crazy.
I'm in disbelief about this electric discharge. Like he's
the
Pikachu
thing is,
almost like in
it's
worm.
crazy because like you think the fact that it has electric would immediately rule it out, but we have electric eels. Like bioelectricity is not new.
Yeah.
And like I know it's mainly in like water animals, but the thing is, maybe it's not technically electricity. Maybe it's just manifesting it some weird way.
Okay, and
So it could be real in theory.
think about this: how biologically different are the ancestors of this death worm and our electric eels? Do you think they're in the same
still
tree?
Stupid like worm creatures.
Exactly.
This one's just swimming in the desert rather than in the sea.
exactly, and he's got a little bit of acid in him or something.
This thing is crazy. If this is real, that's crazy that people in Mongolia are even alive. Shout out to Mongolians.
Y'all are holding it down over there.
Anyone in the audience from Mongolia?
Wow.
Wow, we got
A lot of people from Mongolia
a lot
out
of
here
Mongolian
today.
fans. Thank you guys.
Shout out to the Mongolians.
Yeah, love you guys. Experts claim the desert is too hot for actual worms to survive, which leads them to believe that the Mongolian deathworm is a venomous snake or a legless burrowing lizard. What's the difference between a snake and a legless lizard?
Okay, have you seen like a newt? I think they're called.
Yeah, I think they
Isn't
have
that
arms
like
though.
they have arms, but they don't have back legs, right?
They have body parts. I think I had cousins who had newts as pets.
Oh, interesting. I don't know. I feel like I've seen newts without like extremities.
Maybe they have like maybe something with their bones. I don't know.
Maybe I don't know. I'm trying to justify something that shouldn't be.
Dude, this thing has even more.
Tell me more.
The Mongolian deathworm's skin is an exoskeleton,
So it's got like a
which
hard shell.
molts whenever it becomes injured. This thing is crazy. It has armor. It has a ranged attack. It has electricity. It can just kill you by touching it. Its mouth is like the Sarlacc pit.
He's quite literally
2
got
to
every
6
base
feet.
covered in a fight.
I'm
impressed.
Absurd.
I didn't have high expectations for the death worm.
Yeah.
It has blown my
This one's
expectations out of the
wild.
water.
All right, and then I get this one here. You can tell which side of the Mongolian deathworm is the front because it has a tail that is short but not tapered at the end. Okay. Even though some people doubt the existence of the Mongolian deathworm, many people in Mongolia do not consider it a mythical creature. They believe it is a real animal that has not been identified yet because there are so many different stories from witnesses who swear they have seen the creature in person. These witnesses range from park rangers to police officers to a Mongolian prime minister.
So the prime minister's seen a death worm.
Whoa. The thing is, I'm realizing how similar they are. Like, it's like Native American culture, they don't see the skinwalker as a myth. That is some being that exists.
Exactly.
That they have well documented throughout history. That exists just as a threat.
Sounds
they take
very
precautions to
similar
avoid
these
it.
Mongolians.
This is a worm. They're like, yeah, this is a real thing. It's dangerous. Be careful. Don't go into the desert because of this. Like, they know its months. They know its patterns. They know its behavior. They know its attacks.
That's super interesting. I'm glad you drew those lines together because I was seeing that as well, thinking that
Because this one,
people are believing that like this is their culture, and
this one to me seems like
crazy.
an agent of chaos, whereas the Skinwalker seems like an agent of like pure evil. Like it has an intent. This thing is just it exists to be a bastard, basically. Like, you can't kill it because it's got armor. It hides from you. It shoots acid at you. It shoots electricity at you. It can kill you by touching it, presumably by the poison or the lightning attack.
he's ready
can
to go
bite
at
you.
any time. Just
Whereas the Skinwalker is like, I feel like if a Skinwalker's targeting you, it's personal. It wants specifically you dead. This thing wants threats dead, so maybe it can eat, maybe it can reproduce.
It said somewhere in here that skinwalkers will do anything, like at any time, to practice bad magic and hurting people. So they're more looking to cause chaos and harm than anything. Mm-hmm. It seems like this guy's just living out in the desert.
Yeah, if he encounters you, he'll probably create chaos and harm.
Yeah,
but not due to like the intention of I thrive on chaos. More so,
he's not seeking out.
This
people.
guy has animal instincts.
Interesting.
All right. Yeah, entertainment.
Do we have a weight estimate on a death worm?
Let me check. If we did, it would probably be on this page that I'm looking at. So here's another thing. It just got bigger. All right. The size of an intestine has been described by many to be from 2 to 7 feet long.
No. 7 feet? It went from 5 to 6 to 7.
The thing is, even if this thing is small at this point, I lose. Like, this thing is crazy.
Okay, I'm pulling up pictures of the Mongolian death worm on my phone just to get like a little bit better quality. Mm-hmm. Some of these interpretations are like straight up nightmare fuel.
Yeah, this thing is insane.
Oh, like, ooh.
I can't believe it has electricity.
That really surprised me. So, the bioelectricity within this Mongolian death worm is enough to kill somebody just on the touch of them.
But it's either bioelectricity or it's the venom, like the poison on it.
Didn't it say it shot out like electric discs or charges?
Electric discharge, yeah.
Yes, that's what it was. That's insane. So that can be at a range as well, right?
I think so. I don't know. Probably. I don't know how limited it is. This thing's crazy.
These death worms are cracked.
This guy's literally a Pokemon.
Yes. Real life Pokemons.
But yeah, there are a bunch of comments from other users. I'll just see what people think.
I was gonna say, what do they have to say?
According to Sarah Dino YT, I think the deathworm is a huge snake or dragon-like being, and because of their size, they would probably sleep millions of years at a time, and if they are disturbed, will kill. Mostly the males. I'm not sure what they mean by that.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, go off.
Interesting.
Somebody said, I like the plausibility of the deathworm cryptid being a fat, chunky, obese lizard thing. Somebody called Melon Rocks said, go, worm boy, go.
Okay. I honestly, I do not think cheering for the deathworm is in my court. I don't think I'm cheering him on.
For me, no. I hope it lives. I hope it doesn't go extinct. It sounds like a really cool animal if it's real.
I hope more people get to see him. That's for sure. Sounds like I need documents. I need documents and photos of this man.
Because, yeah, the thing is, the fact that they're saying it has poison and electricity, the fact that it's as specific as it is, because, like, Bigfoot doesn't have any powers. He's just a big guy.
Big, hairy guy that's walking around the woods.
And so it's like, yeah, it's pretty it's like so plausible that it's stupid.
Yeah.
Like it's so believable that it's
not worth the time investigating, you know?
It's like, I think we'd have evidence, but this is a snake and they go under the sand. If they die, they're buried in the sand. And who's going to go search the whole desert for stuff?
Exactly. And you got to think, they're hibernating 10 months out of the year. You only got 2 months to encounter these things.
This one, it's so like so not plausible. It makes such little sense that it makes sense to me somehow.
Yeah. It's such an interesting concept though, because the whole it's a worm, but it also has this exoskeleton. It sleeps for 10 months out of the year. It's electric, and it explodes and shoots acid.
I forgot that it can explode. They need to base a Pokemon off this. That would be sick.
Yes, I'm trying to figure out how it explodes. Like, because it said it puts half of its body above the sand.
I think it's got to be the tail. Maybe it has some like sort of capsule that like generates big on its tail.
Okay.
And like creates poison, but
it just pops, and then the tail regenerates. Yeah, that seems plausible. That crazy. I would never want to see half of a death worm pop up out of the sand.
That you have to accept you're dead.
It's game over. You know you're about to be turned into some acid.
Apparently, it's also supposed to be attracted to the color yellow. Because there are a lot of stories about people wearing yellow and orange who were attacked, but never spoke to anyone who necessarily had it happen to them.
Okay.
Somebody said it's like a bigger version of the Maine bloodworm. I don't know. Future episode maybe cover the Maine bloodworm. I haven't heard of it before.
Put that on a pin.
Huntress88 said perhaps it's a species of snake related to a spitting cobra or death adder.
Interesting. spitting cobras. What do they spit acid as well?
I think
Are those
so.
like an acid spitting snake?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so like all these like supernatural abilities that it has, the spitting and stuff, they're all like real life things that you see in animal. That's the creepy part to me.
That's
like,
what's crazy. They're not saying it has some power or it's like a demon. Like the Skinwalker is very supernatural, but it's sort of corroborated by all these sightings and the years of history behind it. And this sort of has the same thing, but it's like, you know how Scientology, you see the commercials and it's like science and religion combine.
Yeah.
That's what these two feel like if they were to fight to me. Whereas the Skinwalker is sort of the more spiritual, potentially magical side of the equation. This is the science side of the equation where it's like all these real adaptations.
I agree. This scene, the death worm is like reminding me of just like someone got all these animals that are just like top of their food chain and abilities
Combined them
and
or
just
something?
like evolutionized and breeded them together to make this dead worm. Because what's the explanation for that? What makes a death worm? Do death worms? That you said they laid eggs in the camel's intestines.
Yeah.
So it's not like a 2-person job either. Then you don't need a death worm to mate. It's just asexual.
Yeah, maybe it has to
If
fertilize.
it's just laying
I don't know.
eggs.
Maybe they go and fertilize the eggs, but it also says like somebody brings up an interesting point. This was from Pigman Power. This is back in 2017 also.
Okay.
It says a real annelid, which is like, a worm thing, I believe, couldn't survive easily in the Gobi, but folklore claims it only leaves underground regions, which are cold and wetter than the surface during rainy season. So that's a good point. It could very well be a worm.
I was gonna say because like that is a good point. Drying out in the desert and like the sand for a worm probably isn't best conditions. But if he's staying like cool underneath the surface and some wet sand,
Yeah,
doable.
could work for sure.
Doable.
What else we got? Somebody brings up a good point. This is from the Whittington, maybe is how that's pronounced.
Okay.
An earthworm lives 4 to 8 years, and that's what the big ones could probably live longer. Plus, if it's a carnivore, it could probably eat a lot more. Honestly, an earthworm and a leech have made a flesh-eating cookie monster. Yeah, he's saying they combined. Lucky it's a small guy. Yeah, crazy.
No way. So they combined a worm and a leech like in a lab somewhere.
That's this, I guess, comparison.
No.
Basically, his point is they can live a long time. I think that's what he was
Earthworms
going for.
living 4 years.
4 to 8, yeah.
That's
And then I guess the big ones can be longer.
it's longer than some families' hamsters live. Like that is insane.
Man, that's
Some long living worms. 4 years. See, I'm in Texas. Whenever I see worms outside, it's usually right after it rains, and then the rainwater always dries up super fast there. So do the worms, and I always feel bad because I just see them drying out on the pavement. So hearing a worm can live up to 4 to 8 years is just mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's wild for sure. I think that's most of what I had, frankly. I have a few more we can go over, but I think that's the craziest stuff.
That is, my mind has been blown, I will say. The death worm has earned my respect today.
So yeah, it's got sort of the Bigfoot thing, which is like all the searches have always come back empty-handed.
Okay.
But like everyone has, people have stories. People claim to have seen it or know someone who died from it or something. So probably not real, which I think is for the best because this thing would be a menace. Like obviously it's very specific. The thing that's crazy to me is the fact that it takes note of when people would be dealing with it.
I agree.
Which is the rainy season.
I agree. It's scary. And especially the prime minister of Mongolia said that he seen it, right?
Who did?
The Mongolian prime minister?
Yeah, you said he saw it.
Yeah, that's... I don't know. Maybe it's some folklore. He's trying to keep people out of the desert, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Somebody with that kind of power.
He would, if anyone knows, it's the Mongolian prime minister.
He knows everything in his country, I'm sure.
Yeah, okay. All the things come back empty-handed all the time. So I'll just chat and just look a little briefly in a book about it. This one says there might be an explanation, maybe.
Really?
Yeah, like maybe he has some theory.
Okay.
Then the premier asked that if it were possible, I should capture the thing. None of those present ever had seen the creature, but they all firmly believed its existence and described it. The premier said that a cabinet minister stated the cousin of his late wife's sister had also seen it. However, this anecdote about the room is barely a footnote in somebody's book, so, like...
Barely mentioned it.
Yeah. Whoa, this part's crazy. Okay. Scientists dismiss cryptids like the chupacabra and the yeti as urban legends due to lack of scientific evidence, but there is a possibility that such a creature like the Mongolian deathworm might exist.
Wow.
After all, even Jane Goodall, one of the foremost primate experts in the world, said she was open to the possibility of Bigfoot. What are you talking about? What does that have to do with anything? The Gobi Desert is a vast region that spans a territory of 500,000 square miles of rough terrain, making the existence of undiscovered animal species very likely. Additionally, there are worm species that have been known to live in sand instead of soil, like the giant beach worm in Australia. Okay. Moreover, in worms, the circulatory system functions by absorbing oxygen through their skin and carrying it through their body, which would allow them to grow up to large sizes like the death worm's purported 5-foot length. Yet nobody has been able to capture photographic evidence, so how did the legend come to be? Okay. The English translation of deathworm from its original Mongolian name is also misleading, and experts believe that such a creature exists and may be a type of reptile, not wriggly worm. Underground, no matter how large the deathworm began. Wow.
Interesting.
That's really interesting that as soon as I was like, yeah, probably not real, they haven't seen it, because that's how I feel about Bigfoot. It's like, it's crazy to imagine something like that's real. Mm-hmm. And it's also just like, people say they bury their dead, but dude, come on. You're lying. There's no Bigfoot.
Yeah.
There's no big monkey man running around fucking eating wolves or whatever.
He's not chilling up in the mountains.
He's not building axes and tools to go fight Godzilla. He's not real.
Bigfoot, I think Bigfoot's kind of long gone. I don't know. He's a fun thing to believe
for
in.
sure. Long gone, I will absolutely drink too, because there's like the Australopithecus or whatever. Mm-hmm. There are definitely huge primates that did exist and hunted, but like, how would that still be around? That makes no sense.
Exactly.
What are you talking about?
There could have been a Bigfoot-like creature at one point in time. He's not here anymore.
He's not. Rest in peace. But
yeah,
because we would see more than just fake footprints every 10 years.
Exactly.
We would have bones. We would see them dead. Because there's no way that Bigfoots get into a fight and kill each other at some point, and they're not going to be like, "Let me bury him."
You gotta think we got zoos too. Like we got zoologists. We got people like constantly doing research and different things.
Because it's also in forests. Like, it's not like, we have forests, but there's so many forests in the United States where Bigfoot is claimed to be sighted. We've definitely seen every inch of that forest. Like, unless there's the secret portal part of the forest that goes to the Bigfoot world, we would have found it.
And I think for a while, especially before, like, the internet, I think Bigfoot was seen as, like, one in particular person, or one in particular being.
Yeah.
And I think just the thought of one Bigfoot and all these sightings across North America, I think that's all fake, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's interesting. It's fun to think about.
But the worm,
on the other hand.
The thing is, 500,000 square feet of desert, 500,000 miles. What am I saying? Square feet.
Insane. That's insane. 500,000
square.
Is that
right? Yeah, that should be right?
That sounds about right.
I'm going to go see if I can find where it said that.
Okay.
Because
you kind of got to think about it, though. Because, like, how many fish are in the ocean that we don't know about?
Yeah, the desert, like, it even says in the thing, it's like, it's definitely not unlikely. 500,000 square miles of rough terrain.
Wow.
So, like, we have awesome little, like, satellites that, Google Maps can be like, look, it's the desert.
They're not going to take a picture of the worm.
Seeing tracks, that makes a lot of sense. When people are like, there are tracks, we have footage of tracks.
Yeah.
I'm putting this one in the real category.
I would have to agree with you. I think the death worm is real.
Because the fact that it's, like, all these Mongolian people have seen it. Mm-hmm. And it's not like it's a haunted house where you go look for the ghost for an hour. It's such a finite space. 500,000 miles is crazy.
And they have ancestors or relatable things. Yeah. In Australia, you had mentioned there's a beach worm.
Yeah. And they talked about how all the plausibility of it. Like, the thing is, you could plot me in the middle of the Gobi Desert, 500,000 miles. I could live to be 100 and not need food or water and just walk every day. And I don't think I would be able to reach the edge of that, and get out of it.
Not at all. I don't think so either. I think once you're in the Gobi Desert, especially if you're like dropped in the middle, it's done. You're done.
Because the thing is, it's not like walking over like, it's not flat grass.
Not
it's
at all.
A constantly shifting sand.
That's
You're
hot.
walking up and down it all the time. Even assuming you have environmental resistance to everything. I don't need to sleep. I don't need to eat. I don't age. You could give me 100 years. I would still be in that desert. So the idea of missing a worm, even if you have a car, that's so plausible. Like even if you have some sort of vehicle designed for it. The desert's huge. It's constant. It's not like the woods where you can map out the woods. You can say this is where the desert is, but it's going to be different the next time you pull up.
I agree. And you can, it's kind of like the ocean in a way where you can drive out into like the middle of the desert and you're going to look in all directions and it's going to be desert on every single direction you look. And I think that's so crazy. Just like border to border, all desert as far as the eye can see. I can't imagine being stuck out there.
These are the two that I think I've ever like genuinely been like believing in. Like the thing is, the Skinwalkers one I believe in less, but I would not test that theory. Like with ghosts, I will test that theory. Like I'll be like, ghost, then come kill me, ghost. But I'm not going to be out rocking around and do that same bait on a Skinwalker.
I was going to say, I'm definitely not walking out into Navajo land and whistling in the middle of the night. That
gives me chills again.
Just the thought of it.
Hearing you say
makes
whistles,
that is so my hairs stand up.
Horror movie-esque. The idea of whistling, horrible.
Imagine they whistle back at you.
Horrible idea. I don't want to.
Oh,
I'm not going to be able to sleep
Got
tonight.
me all scared.
But the worm is crazy.
I agree.
Worm is fun. It seems like it's probably pretty hard to get killed by, frankly.
I think it'd be hard to... It depends on your range, I feel like. Maybe if you're farther away... But if you're close up, I think it's gone. You're done.
What I mean when I say hard to get killed by, like if I see it, I'm done. I lose.
Oh, like it'd be hard to encounter.
Yeah, because it's a massive area in a desert. Like, why am I going to the desert anyway? Like going to the beach, I feel like it's like, oh, it's fun. The desert, yeah, I can go hang out in the desert for maybe a day on the edge of it when there's a town right nearby.
Yeah.
This thing is probably out in the middle of the desert, pretty uncommonly gonna come bite me while I'm hanging out. Like,
I mean, maybe we should just stay out of the desert. Like, maybe that's the worm's home.
Like, let him do his thing.
Stop
he wants
messing
to kill
with
camels,
him. The
go
death
for it.
worm can do his thing.
That's crazy that we actually have two. Like, most of the time I always go, this one's real. These, I think, are both probably legitimately plausible.
I would have to agree. Definitely both plausible.
Skinwalker, I hope, isn't real.
I hope it isn't real
is
as
real.
well. Although I hope it's not real, I think in actuality, it's more leaning towards real than not in my eyes.
Yeah, that's the thing, because it's a spiritual being. It's not like, why haven't we ever found a corpse then? Who knows? Maybe it turns into an animal when it fully dies. Maybe it turns into a human. Maybe it turns into dust when it dies.
Who knows? That's the other thing. There hasn't been like any documented killings, you know? Mm-hmm.
But there are, I do know a lot of, specifically Native American women go missing. And I don't, because this is a real thing. I don't want anyone listening to this to be like, what, you think it's a moss? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying a lot of people go missing.
Yeah.
A lot of Native American people go missing, which you should look into if you're, this got so serious. Yeah, donate to that. Help them if you can. Do whatever you can. But
I agree.
Yeah,
there's
crazy.
always light to be shed on different parts of the world, and I agree with you.
These are crazy. Truly crazy. Shout out to everyone in these cultures.
For real. Shout out.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you for sharing your cultures with us. It's actually so crazy that, like, you know, these different cultures around the world have all these, like, because if I was a Mongolian, I'd be scared for my life every day.
I know. I'm not risking that.
I can't imagine waking up in the morning and having to, like, think about coming face to face with the death worm.
That might be the thing, because it might be the home front bias. Like, why it's like, why I'm more scared. Because I'm not really scared of this, because it's no issue for me. This will never, like, I don't think Mongolia was ever a place I wanted to go to.
Yeah.
It's definitely not now that I know
on my
about
list.
this guy.
Yeah.
But, man, it's really crazy. I don't know. I think that's it. I think that's what we got.
I think that's it.
All right, well, if this is the ending of episode, I guess, 5, awesome. If it's the ending of episode 4, cool.
I want to thank you, Ben, for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming
having
again.
me as a guest. It was
a good time.
A great pleasure to be here.
We learned about all sorts of crazy creatures.
Heck yeah, we did.
Do you have anything you want to plug? Anything awesome?
Not really.
Your Instagram? Can anyone come to your house?
No, please don't come to my house.
Do you want to plug your address real quick?
If you see me on campus, you didn't unless you want an autograph. Then maybe.
If he's
I'll
talking
make
to
an
like a
excuse.
girl or something, definitely go up and ask for an autograph.
Yes.
Looks so cool.
Please.
But,
Nah. But
yeah.
thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
I really
this was-
enjoyed myself.
This was crazy. Yeah, this has been the Goblin Hour.
Heck yeah, thank
All right.
you.
Hey, have a good one, guys. Fuck. Have a good one, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, bye.